A big thank you to Bilal there. Great to hear about the practical strategies organizations are using to stay ahead of threats, protect their data pipelines, harden their models, and build AI systems that can grow without compromising trust. I think that session made it clear that building a secure and scalable AI isn't just a technical challenge, it is a strategic one. Okay, so moving on to our next session of the day. Lean Strategy for Modern Security dives into how modern security teams are being asked to defend more, decide faster, and operate with fewer resources than ever. And that's exactly why a lean security strategy has become essential. So this session explores how organizations can simplify complexity, focus on what truly matters, and build agile, efficient security programs that deliver real resilience. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Margarita Rivera, Global Chief Information Security Officer from Carnival Corporation.
Hello and good afternoon, Black Hat, Middle East, and Africa. How is everyone doing today? Let's give a round of applause for all the amazing content, speakers, and all of the information that we've had shared with us today. I'm Margarita Rivera, the Global Chief Information Security Officer for Carnival Corporation, and it is indeed my honor to be here today and to have the opportunity to speak with each of you. I promise you that if you lean in for the next 20 minutes or so, I promise you that you will walk away with some nuggets that you will be able to implement, whether you are a cybersecurity professional, whether you are in development, an investor, a company with a new product. It doesn't matter where you sit or where you stand today. Lean strategy is important for all of us. So I'd like to welcome you once again. It has been incredible to see how beautiful Saudi Arabia truly is. And as I was preparing to come and fly here from the States, I got to know a little bit more about this beautiful city and about Vision 2030. And it was incredible to see how much Vision 2030 aligns to what lean strategy means and how it can impact the things that we are trying to accomplish in our individual organizations. We have a blueprint unfolding right in front of us in terms of innovation, in terms of speed, in terms of creativity. And if we just take a moment to pause, and if we take a moment to listen, there is a lot that we can learn from what is happening in this very city that we all get to be a part of. This region is truly being built for velocity and for speed. The rapid digital transformation that began back in 2016 is unfolding before us today. We're able to see how much has changed from a transformation perspective, how things have changed from an economic perspective, from innovation to technology to investment in this region, and it is unfolding right before our very eyes. I think this is really important because it teaches us a blueprint that we can also model and use within our own organizations and with our own lives, whether professional or personal. You know, a couple years ago, probably a little over a decade, when I was studying at Harvard University, they took the time to bombard us with so much information, but it was intentional. And today more than ever, we are seeing the same thing. We're seeing a bombardment of information that is being thrown at us in our respective areas. And we are having to make decisions at a breakneck speed in order to serve the organizations that we work for. It's interesting to see that 70% of strategic roadmaps today implicitly fail. 70%. That's quite a lot. And why is that? That's because the level of complexity at which we are going when it comes to planning, when it comes to executing, is far exceeding the pace of change and transformation. You see, we need to simplify what we are trying to accomplish. We need to integrate into shorter cycles, fail fast, learn, and move forward. We need to be value focused in everything that we are doing as we try to deliver business. And lean strategy can teach us how to do that in the most effective way that saves resources, saves time, and increases productivity within our organizations. Traditional strategy doesn't work. The old playbooks of the past fails over and over and over again. Long planning cycles finish and new conditions arise. Technology is changing at such a fast speed, and artificial intelligence is increasing the speed of that change. And if we try to employ old tactics and old strategies in the new wave of digital transformation, we will fail. The rigid milestones that we place before trying to go into production or trying to roll out of control is also not working anymore, because by the time we have deployed a technology, by the time we have deployed a control, everything has changed, the landscape has changed, and the reality is that malicious threats and malicious actors are innovating with lean strategy at a pace that cybersecurity professionals cannot keep up with. Slow approval cycles are also a huge component of the lack of speed and innovation that we are seeing in the traditional approach that we have towards cybersecurity. So let's think about the traditional map versus that real-time GPS. I'm sure many of you today, as you were coming out to the convention center, needed to use some type of GPS to get here. It's quite far from the main city. Now, the traditional way, which is a huge map, is very outdated. The traditional map is one point in time when we actually need to operate with real-time GPS. That means that information is being processed constantly. That means that as the new instruction comes before us, 300 feet, make a right. In 1 kilometer, make a left. And things recalculate and shift so that we can prioritize and make decisions within our organizations is the way we need to employ. The traditional strategy of the old map is decades-old assumptions that don't work in this rapid evolving industry. Rigid plans that will absolutely fail and resist corrections. Whereas lean strategy is continuous feedback on a continuous basis, constantly changing, constantly shifting based on what we learn and what we know. It embraces dynamic leadership. It shifts without losing direction. It has a quick course correction, which is incredibly important in this day and age, because we are making decisions for our organizations based on the information that we have today, but I guarantee you that tomorrow the information is changed. There are so many iconic brands that got left behind simply because they were operating under an old strategy. Companies like BlackBerry, who refuse to embrace the change in technology. They saw the iPhone as a toy. They didn't see the iPhone as the trend-setting, disrupting piece of technology that many of you have in your hands today. And because of that, they lost the market. Sony, another global company that unfortunately tried to operate with its old playbooks, had so many fragmented silos and could have taken advantage and developed the iPod far before the iPhone. They had entertainment, they had music, they had technology. But because they wanted to operate with an old mindset, with a traditional playbook, and not lean in to lean strategy, they got left behind. And we see the same examples in companies like Nokia and Kodak. So lean strategy, my friends, is speed. If there is one thing that I would love for you to walk away with today is knowing that lean strategy will accelerate everything that you are trying to accomplish within your organization. Whether you are a cyber professional, whether you're a developer, whether you are a founder, lean strategy is the key to success for your company. There is an urgency for us, for those of you that are cybersecurity professionals. How many cyber folks do I have in the audience today? If you are in cybersecurity, raise your hand for me so that I can find my cybersecurity partners in the audience. Lean strategy is an urgency for our strategy. Threats are evolving daily, and they are increasing, and they are changing, and your threat landscape is changing at a pace like never before. And if you do not lean in to lean strategy, you will become one of the statistics that gets hacked or breached, because now it's not a matter of who, it's a matter of when. So when we talk about lean strategy within our pillars, think about identity. We all want to boil the ocean and do big things within identity, but do we have the basics? Do we have MFA? Do we have SSO? Do we even have a core source of information that we can utilize in order to drive identity within our organization? We can't move on to things as unique as passwordless within identity if we don't have the basics covered. Think about security operations. If we do not tune our SIMs to be able to find those unique threats, those that are most critical, then all we have is a SIM that is collecting a lot of information and not delivering any value. There is so many different pillars within cybersecurity that need to lean in to lean strategy. How are we doing security architecture? Do you have reference diagrams? Or does it take 20 diagrams and a support animal to understand what it is that we're trying to deliver? The easier we make it, the less friction there is, the more it'll be adopted, and the more secure your organization will be. Yesterday's roadmap, there it is. You see it behind me. 5-year roadmap. I'm sure many of you have seen this. I've been in the industry now for 23 years, and I remember drafting a 5-year roadmap. But that's traditional security, friends. And that roadmap is already outdated by the time it is memorialized. By the time it is complete, this is already old. You'll never get to year 3, 4, and 5 because everything will be different. Technology is moving too fast. And yesterday's roadmap is not going to stop tomorrow's breach. Lean security works in cyber because it prioritizes the doors that matter to defend a constantly moving castle. If we think of it in the sense of a castle, we cannot protect every single door. So we protect the doors that are most valuable. Now I'm gonna throw something that's a little complicated into the mix, because the reality is that that castle is constantly moving. And which doors are important are constantly changing. But if you have a traditional way of looking at it, then you're gonna eventually have doors that are secured that really don't matter as much as the new threats are trying to impact things that are of value, assets that are of value within your organization. Achieve more with less without overwhelming your teams if you can lean into a way that is more directed, more valuable, and more simplistic. So let's take a couple of case studies quickly before we wrap up this afternoon. Let's talk about Siemens. Siemens is a global player. They've been around for 175 years and operate in 190 countries. Their history and their legacy is incredible. They are truly one of the only vertically integrated companies at a global scale that does hardware, software, operational technology, and digital twin. But many years ago, Siemens realized that their organizational structure was too complex for them to move fast enough. Imagine a company with hundreds of thousands of employees, how much approvals and bureaucracy could be involved in that. So they went about this lean strategy protocol and truly tried to make it their own. They began with a customer value focus. Everything was customer focused, their conversations, the feedback loops. They learned so much They empowered their teams. They got rid of the middle management, empowered their teams to go ahead and make decisions and fail fast to move forward. Their agile execution towards their products was not a multi-year roadmap. They went about executing in an agile way into small sprints and getting real-time feedback in order to iterate and make corrections along the way. From a cybersecurity perspective, they changed how they focused on security by focusing on lean metrics that really mattered. And most importantly, they applied a very collaborative way towards innovation, sitting down with their customers, hearing their customers, and understanding what their customers needed. To the same extent, we'll use the company that I have the greatest honor in working for, Carnival Corporation. Carnival is comprised of 8 different cruise lines globally. And Carnival has been in this transformation towards lean strategy for some time now, because we recognize that we are better together and we need to integrate in order to be able to deliver to our customers in the best way possible. So we've shifted our focus. What is the value of the activities that we're doing? What is the value of the investments that are being made? We empowered our teams. I have brand information security officers all throughout the globe that are empowered to make decisions as it relates to their information security program, because the threats that are faced in a region like Germany or Italy or Australia may not necessarily be the same that were faced in the United States. And the ability to respond quicker without the bureaucracy of approvals makes them more agile to deal with threats as they arise. We operate with minimum viable controls. We deployed core initiatives, looking at what are the minimum controls that we need to have in place. Is it zero trust? Is it OT segmentation? Our SIM, our AD modernization? We're very focused on what we're trying to deliver, but delivering at a foundational level. You cannot deliver something that is grand, something that is cutting edge, until you have a solid foundation. We also implemented continuous feedback loops, where we're constantly getting information from the business, not just from technologists. And we're learning how we can partner and serve better. And most importantly, people and culture. Our people are our everything. The investment in our people is what pays dividends. The investment in our people is what gives us the ability to operate in a lean way, to develop that trust, to understand the different perspectives that come from a diverse workforce, and to be able to implement things at greater scale. So let's do more with less. Let's do more with a smile. These are some lean principles that you can walk away with today. Clarity over complexity. Let's start there. We need to be very clear in one sentence what it is that we're trying to accomplish for each pillar or each initiative. We don't need to have 150 projects. We need to have a focused energy towards focused initiatives that reduce the most risk in our environment. Let's push decisions down. I do not need to make every single decision as the global CISO for Carnival Corporation, because I have a team of leaders that stand beside me, that carry my DNA, that understand the vision and the importance of what we're trying to accomplish, and that reduction of handoffs makes it so much quicker. We measure what matters. We measure in a way that we can articulate to the business, that we can articulate to the board, that we can have folks understand what it is that we're trying to accomplish. We're iterating incredibly fast. And if something doesn't work for our environment, we pivot. If we are trying to leverage a framework like ISO 27000 or NIST, and it doesn't work in our environment because of the complexity, because I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I have 8 different IT teams from 8 different brands with 8 different tech stacks and 1 security stack that has to protect them all. So we iterate as quickly as we can in order to provide that support for our folks. And we're customer focused, first, even in cybersecurity. So this week, let's accelerate our strategy. Once you all go back and you're back within your countries and your hometowns and your organizations, let's replace the long dreaded 60-minute meetings with 15-minute stand-ups. Let's make one process leaner within our organization. Let's remove unnecessary approvals to help speed things up. Let's ask, what would this look like if this was simple? And let's treat simplicity as a superpower. Enable faster, focused execution. Thank you guys so much. It's been an absolute honor speaking with you today. If you'd like to connect, there is my LinkedIn, and it's been my pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you.